Hello everyone. Welcome to question 12 of placement test series 1. This is Nikesh Agarwal from Sarthi Career. This question is on pointer arithmetic and arrays. Here we have an array of 5 elements with values 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now if we assume that the starting address of this array is at 100, so we know that 0 is stored at location 100, and since we know every integer takes 4 bytes, which means 100 to 103 is reserved for 0, and then the next integer can only start at location 104. Again we have 4 bytes reserved for 1, and the next integer can only start from location 108. Please understand, we have assumed these values only because it's a 32-bit compiler and every integer occupies 4 bytes. Now by the definition of the array, we also know that the name of the array, which is array, is itself a pointer which is pointing to the 0th element of the array or the starting of the array. So we can clearly say that array is equal to 100 because 100 is what points to the 0th element of the array. Now one way to access the array elements which we all know of is using the name and with square braces putting the index inside it. So if you want to access the 0th element, we would say array square braces open 0 and then close. And similarly, if you want to access the other elements, we would do it the same way. What technically the compiler interprets this statement as nothing but this, wherein array of 0 is replaced with array plus 0 and then a star operator. Right? The star operator is nothing but the indiscretion operator, which would mean the value at this location array plus 0. Similarly, then we have array plus 1 and then value at that location for accessing the first element. And if we have to access the ith element, so array plus I and then a star of that. Now, if we replace these statements with values, we will see that these are the values. So 100 plus 0 would be nothing but 100 itself and a star of that, so value at location 100. So this will give you 0, just like array of 0. Now let's look at this part, which is a little tricky. So 101, so mathematically this would be 101, right? But if we see here, it is at 104 where we have this value array of 1. So if we look at this, the definition or the pointer definition states that a pointer always increments or decrements in steps of size of the type it is pointing to. Now because array is pointing to an integer, when I do an increment plus 1, it will move in steps of 4 because an integer is of 4 bytes. 100 plus 1 and a star of that is going to give me nothing but 104. And a value at 104 would be 1. Now the other way to look at this is, now if 100 was pointing to the 0th element, and if I say if I want to move to the first element, so 100 plus 1, which is I'm referring to I want to move to the first element, technically also it should give me 104 because that's how we can go to the first element. Similarly, if I say I want to access the fourth element, which is this, so if I want to access this, so 100 plus 0, 100 plus 1, 100 plus 2 and 100 plus 3, which is going to give me, or which is going to move my pointer to this location, and finally I can dereference this location to get the value. So 100 plus 3 would give me nothing but 112 because it moves in steps of 4. And if I have to generalize this for I, if I want to access the index I would say 100 plus I into 4, or we can also say that 4 would mean size of the type it is pointing to, and that way we can access the ith element. Now if we look at the second line, which says int star ptr equals to array plus 3. Now one very common misconception of people is that they call this as integer pointer. Well, there is no concept of integer pointer. This only means ptr is a pointer to an integer. So you just read it backwards. So ptr is a pointer to an integer. So we will draw a memory location for PTR, and in PTR we are storing array plus 3. So array, we clearly know it is as 100, and then we are doing an increment by 3. Now because array is pointing to an integer data type, when I do plus 3, it would mean jump to the index 3 or access the fourth element, because indexing starts from 3. So I would say jump to 0, 1, 2 and 3, which is nothing but 112, and hence PTR is going to be 112. The next line says PTR equals to PTR plus 1. Now if I do 112 plus 1, so here is my PTR, and when I say PTR plus 1, so basically I'm referring is go and point to the next integer. So PTR should come here now. So 212 plus 1, that is nothing but 116, because it moves in steps of 4. And finally we see that we are printing value equals to %d PTR minus array. So now what is this value going to be? Now PTR is 116, array is 100. So technically if I would say, the answer is going to be 16. But just look at this. If I have to go from the starting address to 116, all I have to do is 100 plus 4, and it will jump to the fourth index, and that will give me 116. So if I was to just follow mathematics here, I move 100 to this, to the right side of equal to. So what I'm left with is 4 equals to 116 minus 100. And hence the answer is going to be 4. If 116 is this and this is 100, so basically when I do pointer arithmetic, I would say 116 minus 100, and since they are both referring to integer data types, so they are pointing to integer data types. So 116 minus 100, you will rather count it as how many integers are there in between 116 and 100, and you will see 1, 2, 3 and 4, and hence the answer is going to be 4. And this is what pointer arithmetic means. So just to summarize, so a pointer arithmetic says that a pointer always increments or decrements in steps of size of the type it is pointing to. To summarize it better, if we have a pointer to a character data type and I do PTR plus 1, assuming that PTR or the pointer PTR is at location 100 or pointing to location 100, so PTR plus 1 is going to give me 104, because PTR is pointing to a character data type and a character is of 1 byte. If I had a pointer which was pointing to a double data type, and assuming that double is 8 bytes long, so if I do a pointer arithmetic on that, I would get 108, because the next double variable is going to be after 8 bytes. This is what I mean by pointer arithmetic. I hope you guys like the video. Please do share and subscribe, and please do leave comments in the comment box below if you have any suggestions. Thank you.